Need a jumpstart in expanding your brand to all markets across the world? Sofo is here for you. Sofo means something for everyone, and they help expand your business through all platforms of media. Need to grow on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram? Their experienced team expands your brand and puts your business in places you would have never been before. Call Sofo at 407-607-9862 or follow Sofo LLC on Instagram.
Welcome to Late Night Parents. I'm your host, Ted Hicks. We have a weekly podcast where we sit down and talk with game changers in the sports, technology, education fields. We even do product reviews and giveaways. Why you ask? Because we're all parents. So if you're ready for an up-close and personal look, then you can check out our podcast. New episodes are available every Thursday. Catch us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. That's Late Night Parents. The site is latenightparents.com.
Are you looking for your dream home? Or are you looking to move out of your current home and find the home to start the next chapter of your life? Look no further. Jim Fouquet with Century 21 Rue Realty is your go-to guy to help you with all your needs. Specializing in West Orange County, Lake County, and Ocoee, his goal is to take care of you from the beginning to the end and is not satisfied until the job is complete. Stop by 401 West Colonial Drive, Suite 7, or give him a call, 321-945-6832. Jim Fouquet with Century 21 Rue Realty.
We are back for the morning tip-off here on Spreaker, 407-378-3717. Taylor and Sherman should be checking in a couple minutes. We're talking about the Friday games. So we recapped last night's games, 3 on the schedule. I said a real quiet night in the NBA, but a lot of impact on players not being available. And so that's going into a couple games this weekend. The good news is that Chris Paul should be back in the lineup on Saturday for the Clippers. Dwayne Wade, like I said, will be back for Tuesday unless something else becomes serious with his son. He was out with a medical injury. Rudy Gobert is questionable for tonight, has a good chance of going since he didn't go last night. You're looking at Ricky Rubio, who should be available for the T-Wolves on Saturday. And also, we did mention, like I said, Wade, Gobert, Wade, Paul. Also, Miles Turner, rookie for the Pacers, will not be available tonight and also not be available for the next month. He's out 4 weeks with a thumb injury. A chip fracture in his left thumb. He heard it on Wednesday night. The team announced yesterday. So, without Turner, if you're looking at fantasy hoops, look at Chase Budinger, Lavoy Allen, Solomon Hill, Jordan Hill to get more minutes in the place of Turner. Turner was starting to turn the corner, start to play better, get those minutes from Yamahimi, but step back. He's going to be out for a few weeks, so plan accordingly, Pacer fans. And when he gets back, hopefully Turner will still be at the same level he was before he got hurt and actually exceed himself because in the case of Mark Johnson, he's probably the best rookie in his class. So you got to do what he has to do. Also, key injuries for tonight's games. Joakim Noah expected to play tonight against the Hornets. He had been out a couple games with his knee. A lot of soreness there, but he practiced on Thursday and should be available for tonight. Like I said, as they play the Hornets in a rematch game for a game of Hornets black the Bulls Charlotte last day. So 407-378-3717 is the number to check in this morning. So tonight, 11 games on the schedule. Some interesting matchups, and we're going on top, game of the night. You're looking at Cleveland versus New York, and I call the payback game. Well, why is it payback? Kristaps Porzingis has been dunking on pretty much any power forward who stands his way at the rim. So I'll go further towards that. But as we're checking in, we have one of our favorite guests and also the editor, Spacey Scoop, as well as a writer for Rap Republic, checking in this morning with her usual Friday call, our good friend Tamberlin.
Good morning. How are you, Danny?
Hey, Friday, it's a big day for hoops, and really, for the most part, this is going to be a lot of fun because last week when you were on, I had you where I didn't have my button on and your button wasn't on, so nobody heard your pick. So basically, you were 0-0 picks. So
This sucks because I did really well.
so big night in the NBA tonight. We have a lot of different games going on. So I was going into the Knicks and the Cavs. I call it the Kristaps Porzingis rematch game because we all know Porzingis has tendency to dunk on people, and tonight should be no question. So the Knicks at home, Cleveland 7-1. What are you looking for in this game tonight?
I think it's going to be more competitive than people assume. A common factor I've been finding is the referees are loving that New York is actually competing. I saw them this week play Toronto, and I will say they were better than I anticipated. But without DeMarre Carroll in the lineup, it's hard to gauge how good they are because Toronto is a whole step up with DeMarre Carroll in the lineup. It just changes our whole defensive posture. But Cleveland is on. They're looking to set a record for the best start in franchise history. So, and LeBron always gets up for Madison Square Garden. I don't know. It could be very, very interesting. It's going to be competitive. I don't see it being a blowout, but then again, it's LeBron. I think it will be a Cleveland win, but I think New York will keep it tight, and it'd be great if it was won by Porzingis on a putback dunk.
It would be, especially Porzingis got robbed on Tuesday night in a very controversial. So you have Cleveland tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland. You know what? Actually, I think Carmelo has the performance that we for, and Knicks fans should have something to cheer about tonight. LeBron and those guys. I know it's early, but they're more concerned about getting Kyrie back and getting their guys' rotation. I think tonight was Carmelo's signature performance of the month. I know he had 36 Washington last weekend, but I think Melo goes for about a good 35. They get some help. They get some niggas. Watch will be Brian Grant, rookie from Notre Dame. I like the Knicks tonight.
Yeah, he's been good. Who do you see guarding Melo for him to go for that many points?
I think let's start LeBron, and I think to keep him from working so much defensively, you'll see probably J.R. Smith. They'll run multiple guys of Melo, but we all know Durant. Melo is the most polished scorer in the NBA. There's not when he's really engaged. I don't think there's anybody other than KD that can stop Carmelo from scoring. That's the only thing. I think LeBron will draw the defensive time in the beginning, and I think he finishes the game. But Melo does most of his damage in the times when LeBron's not guarding him. So when you have J.R. Smith, we have a player on Melo. That's where he starts to cook for the Knicks.
Did you see the game against Toronto with New York? Because James Johnson had him shut down. It was
James Johnson's a defender.
Came into the game.
Well, yeah, I think James Johnson's a better defender than Richard Jefferson or J.R. Smith could ever be in their lifetime. You know, the good thing with the Raptors is that they have very good defensive players. You have Carroll, you have Johnson. They have guys who guard the basketball. Now, Terrence Ross was guarding Carmelo Anthony. Tamberlin, we both know, Melo goes for 50, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of your
but
Raptors.
I think Norman Powell could even guard him. Sorry, but I do.
I mean, we all know Terrence Ross can't guard a chair. You know, Norman Powell, for me, I have to get more work out of him. He looked good in Summer League, but we have to get more, looks at him. Speaking of the Raptors at home against the Pelicans tonight. Or actually the Wounded Ants. Who you got for the Pelicans?
Okay, so I'm taking Raptors, of course. They're the home team, but there's a good reason for that. You're talking about a New Orleans team that's sadly injury. We don't even know if Brow is playing Anthony Davis. They're 30 in opponent points per game, and they're 28 in rebounding, and Toronto's third in rebounding. Now, granted, they're without Carroll and without Ross, but I'm going to bring up the name again, Norman Powell. He looked a little tentative in the first couple times that he got on the court, but he was only getting a minute. He was looking over his shoulder. Philadelphia, he came out and he dunked the ball. And a crazy stat about Norman Powell, he's 3.5 inches shorter than Terrence Ross, but his reach is 4.5 inches longer.
Wow.
With tenacity. If he could hit a consistent three, Terrence Ross would not be on the Raptors.
They wouldn't give an extension.
Sorry, go ahead.
They wouldn't get an extension. Terrence Ross, I mean.
I disagree with that because don't forget, Masai gave that great big contract and then traded him to Washington. So the extension they gave Ross it's a very tradable contract. It's not overpaying really any stretch once you consider what comes into play next year with the television contract money.
Yeah,
so
he's got a monopoly
they're
meter.
giving him an opportunity to succeed, and I think when he comes back from the tendon in his thumb, if Terrence Ross goes on a week or two stretch where he starts going crazy, I would not be surprised at all, especially during this time frame if Powell shows anything, which I think he will, if they trade Terrence Ross and get a point specialist, period.
Interesting thought. Raptors tonight, even if Anthony plays, the Pelicans are completely shorthanded. They're injured. And
I didn't catch any of that. Sorry, you're breaking up on me.
No, I was saying for the Raptors, I think it's going to be win tonight for them at home. They bounced back the other night, and I like Jonas. I'm huge on Jonas. I think he has a big game tonight. He had a double-double in limited minutes against the Sixers. I think he goes for at least 18 and 12, 18 and 13, and the Raptors should win by double digits. Right now, the Pelicans don't have much.
Well, he needs to get touches. New Orleans killed us last year in both games, even without Davis. But Jonas needs to get more touches. He's not getting enough touches at all. And he still gets.
We got Minnesota favorite team on a back-to-back against Indiana, who's out without Miles Turner. Who do you got tonight?
I have Minnesota because they're 4-0 on the road, and they got. I thought that game Atlanta was one of my favorite games of the year. It was, even though Atlanta came back, Minnesota should be 5-3 right now. It's 4-4. They got robbed with that Portland game. They played Golden State about as well as any team has played them. And Wiggins was playing a sore knee. Rubio was out. Okay, here's the other thing. If Wiggins doesn't play, then they don't win. But if Wiggins plays, I think they'll beat Indy. And Paul George has come out and said he wants to guard Wiggins. And I think he's going to wish he didn't say that the same way that Kent Bazemore said he wanted to guard Wiggins.
I like Paul George is completely different than Kent Bazemore.
Absolutely.
I do like Indiana tonight only because Minnesota is in a stretch of games where they're playing a lot of games and a lot of nights. This week it's 5 games in 7 days, and then day off. You have back-to-back in Orlando this week. And no Rubio last night. We should see him tonight, but we should. Hopefully, Minnesota is young, but they're hurting. Wiggins' knee, I'm cautious about that knee right now with Wiggins. So, the way Paul George has been playing, Paul George is playing like a top 5 player in the league right now. It's like he's never been gone. 24, almost 10, and 5 assists a game, power forward position. So, I like the pace tonight. Even without Miles Turner, and they had Jordan Hill, I think PG and the Pacers beat the.
We'll see. I mean, that was a tough one for me to call. If Wiggins doesn't play, I say don't take them. But they also have a huge disparity in terms of points per game between the teams. Minnesota scores a lot more than he does, and there's not that much disparity between the defense. Rubio's the 5 defense, who they do their clutch 5 minutes. Minnesota, they have Rubio at the point guard, Wiggins at the I don't know how to say his name, Vizika?
Yes.
At small forward, Prince at the 4, and Karl Anthony Towns is playing like a seasoned vet at the 5.
Yes.
They're one of the best court in clutch. They were number 1 going into the week, and then they beat both Chicago and Atlanta. So you're right, it depends a lot on Wiggins, but he still put up 19 points with the sore knee in the first week of the season fighting back spasms, and no one knew that. So I don't like to go against when someone's on a roll. Like with Curry right now, I wouldn't go against him not hitting a 3 or going 30 points because he's hitting everything. Similar with Minnesota. They haven't lost on the road yet, so I'm going to stick with them.
All right. Utah taking on Orlando. 6 teams back-to-back. Jazz down in Miami. Now they're here in Orlando tonight. We got.
Is Victor playing?
He's still questionable in the protocol. We should know more after shooting. But It's one day after a concussion. Orlando has a game tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to play, but I don't think he's going to.
Okay, well, I don't know if Rudy Gobert is playing either because he didn't play last night.
Sprained ankle.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I like Orlando at home. I kept going to circle the Jazz, but I really like Orlando. I love Orlando this year. Like, I feel like I feel like the Raptor game got payback from the refs for two games that they should already have been up, because I really felt that Orlando got robbed against the Wizards, and I also felt they got robbed. I forget the other game that they were in. Maybe it wasn't